everybody, I'm Rich Groves, and today we're talking about the Gateway to Freedom Real Estate Investor Conference being held here in St. Louis, October 17th, 18th, and 19th. And I'm joined today by my co-host, Josh Wiesler.
I'm Josh Wiesler. I'm a small business coach in the St. Louis area, and today we're going to talk about foundationally why it's important for this event. We're going to introduce our team as well as just get into some foundations on why it's important for new investors, established investors, and business on coming to this event. So I'm Josh, heard Rich, and then we also have Mary Kane in studio.
AKA Mary frickin' Kane.
Mary frickin'
your
Kane.
event manager.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Mary Kane, event manager. I'm happy to be here. I love this type of thing, these conferences. I have a long, rich history with them.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Happy to be aboard. Can't wait to get into this.
So yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about why these type of conferences are important for new real estate investors to attend. And, you know, these things are super near to me and close to me. I've attended several real estate investor conferences. Maybe you have, but if you're a brand new real estate, this might be the first one you've ever considered attending. You might be sitting there thinking to yourself, you're stuck in a job you hate, living paycheck to paycheck, or just have no freedom in your time or whatever. And I can actually relate a lot to that. See, when I went to my very first real estate investor conference, it was at the actual exact space we're having our conference. So Gateway to Freedom is actually in the exact space where I went to my very first introduction to the conference space. You know, I was in a situation where we were struggling financially. We were living paycheck to paycheck so much where I went to this event. It was a 2-hour evening event. I went through and listened. I had already done a flip before, so I knew what a flip was like, but it was uneducated. I got lucky that we actually did pretty well, but I kind of got lucky. I had no background, no education. A cousin who was a contractor, and we went through it and we're fine. But when I was dead serious about getting into real estate investing, I said, look, I'm going to go to this 2-hour event. And I thought they were going to give me all the answers right then and there. I was like, cool, sweet. I'll walk out and I'll know how to do it. It wasn't the case. At the end, you know, there was a call to action. Hey, now you can go to a weekend event seminar for $200. And I was literally freaking out. I wanted to go super bad, but my wife and I, our family situation wasn't like $200 was just chump change. So, you know, I called my wife and I'm pleading with her. Hey, I've got to go to this. They're going to let us both. So you can go too, whatever. She's like, it's $200. We don't have to, we're living paycheck to paycheck, but we finally agree. I'm like so adamant. Look, if we invest in this, I will make this up in no time because I will learn the magic sauce. I will learn how to do this correctly and we'll make this money back. No problem at all. And the rest is history. It changed my life for real. Did I get every answer there? No, nothing's a magic bullet, right? Even Gateway to Freedom isn't a magic bullet, but it's going to put you in better position for success than it would if you wouldn't take action and attend the event. So that's my story. And that's why I feel these types of conferences where you're going to go, you're going to learn a bunch of fantastic, valuable information from incredible speakers who are very successful in this space right here in St. Louis. We have a couple other folks that are around the country coming in to speak as well, but the vast majority of our speakers are doing and killing it here in St. Louis. And just knowing that these people are successful in your own market and the strategies they're sharing and their stories they're sharing and everything they're sharing is applicable throughout is super powerful because you're going to hear from those folks. And more importantly, you're going to make connections with other people in that room who might have the same background you do. They might have the same experience as you do. They might not. It could be somebody you could use to build your team. You run into a realtor who is doing XYZ and you were just looking for somebody who does XYZ, or a plumber, whatever. You're making connections in that room, but everybody in there's got a like mindset. So Gateway to Freedom is a great way to get a leg up, take action on anything and everything you learn there, and you will become a successful real estate investor as well, as long as you don't quit.
Man,
wow.
That was
I want to go.
Yeah, right. I don't even know how to follow that up, man. Chills.
No.
Tell me how you got started in this.
Oh man, with my journey, I started real estate investing, started into the field probably 17 years ago. Saw Carlton Sheets, like we've heard from a couple other people. Carlton Sheets, late night infomercial. I remember watching it. And for me, with this event as well for new investors, for me, it was that spark of a possibility. I remember I was working, I was disconnecting and reconnecting power for Ameren. I was driving 200 plus miles a day. And I saw what did someone else say? Low budget. I was in low budget areas, and just saw like what poverty looked like. And I saw these situations and I was working so hard and had so much anxiety that it was like something else has to happen. Right. And so I saw this and I remember calling my dad and being like, hey, I think I found what I want to do with my life at the age of 24. And then I didn't get connected to these type of conferences right away. I went to some networking events, but for me, I was out there driving for dollars without really knowing what that meant. I was out there trying to get addresses. I was out there trying to do things on my own and was having absolutely no success, to the point where I quit the first time. After a year or two of not having anything, I quit. And then I went and worked other places and was successful in corporate. I was running cell phone stores. I think I had 40 employees at one time that I was managing, and I was doing well. And I knew in my soul there was a way to get back to real estate. And for me, that was the difference between a desire. And I had that desire, but for me and for a lot of people out there and the new investors we talk about, I knew I had to do something or that desire was going to turn into regret. And for me, that's what these conferences are. They're a opportunity to tap into that potential, because I started going and paying and investing for these things. I remember I went to the first one and learned about rehabbing and hard money. It looked like to actually be out there doing things from people that have done it before, instead of me bumping my head against the wall. This was before YouTube University. It was infomercials and like trying to piece stuff together. Back when the internet made you kill a fax machine in order to even get online. There wasn't things like this out there. For a couple $100 tapping into 30 plus people, it just didn't exist. And so like for us, and for me especially, like this event and these events are the ability for people to really tap into and see what potential and possibilities are out there for themselves that they may not believe are possible right now. And yeah, started full-time 5 years ago, 6 years ago, started meeting the right people, started attending these events, started educating myself and putting myself into situations where it pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Like a lot of people that are new investors, they're afraid to mess up. They're afraid to go out on their own. Like these are the type of environments where you meet the people, you meet the support systems that can help you do the things you want to do and not feel like you're going to screw somebody's life up or even your own doing.
How about you, Mary?
Sure.
I had a boyfriend. I know that's a shock. Anyway, that's the first shocker. And I had a boyfriend, and he was super gullible. And I'm a long time entrepreneur. My first business I had when I was 8 years old. No real support, except I had a great aunt who was an entrepreneur, and I just kind of lived with her half the time. And so, but no conversation about like the kinds of things we might talk about, right, at a conference. And so I grew up just knee-jerking to whatever opportunity, because by nature I'm an entrepreneur. Meet the boyfriend. He wants to go to this rich dad conference. And I'm like, you should not go to that. And I'm like, they're going to sell you. And
see you coming.
Yeah. And so he's like, well, you can go with me. And I only went with him to make sure he didn't buy anything. That's the only reason. But I get there and it's my people, right? The mentor's talking my language. She's saying things I needed to hear a long time ago, but I'm still like, no, don't buy anything. Like, good start. He excuses himself to go to the bathroom, and he's out in the hallway getting sold. And he bought a $30,000 package. And I was like, dang it. And so he's like, well, you can go with me. And I was like, okay, well, I will support you, and I'm happy to jump in with the education. So we finished, it's a 3-day thing over at the Sheraton. We leave, and we've got the mentor's promises, like she's going to be there to support us, and all this. And we go to the car after our little onboarding thing. Everyone stays after, the non-buyers leave. And it was very sleazy sales, I'll just say. So we get into the car squealing like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. And my phone rings, and it's my friend. And Sunday at that conference, by the way, was lease with option day. And so we learned all about lease with option. So my phone rings, and it's my friend, and she's crying, and she's at her house, just kind of caved in. It's in Belleville on the mines, and so mines and kind of stuff happened, and they're going to, what's the word?
Demolish?
No. Anyway.
Condemn.
Yes, yep. Her house. And would you just do a lease with option on your condo for us until we repair our credit? I'm like, we just got our first deal. We haven't left the parking lot yet. He craps his pants. And I was like, hey, Tracy, her name's Tracy. Tracy, I will get back with you. Yes, I will do a lease with option on this condo. I'd had this condo forever. And I go, hey, that mentor promised us stuff. Let's go call her on it. And so we walk into the ballroom. Hey, we just got a deal on the parking lot, and could you help us with it? And she did.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Tracy backs out, and I get the mentor back on the phone, and she's like, good. She was going to be a terrible, let me tell you how to really do this. Here's how to market it. And with like 7 or 10 days, we had that thing under contract again.
Oh, wow.
He lived in a house that had been on the market 7 years out in Bear Creek in Wentzville. And 7 years, no one even looked at it. That same mentor said, raise the price $50,000, offer it as lease with option, ask $15,000 as an option consideration fee. And within the day, I had it under contract, got a $25,000 option consideration fee. And $50,000 more for this. So anyway, I was sold, right?
Right.
And then I became a part of that team. And I had a long history of event.
Hang on real quick.
Yeah.
You kind of glossed over that. I became a part of that team. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So we went through a whole large ass package of classes. It took us a while. We had some family trauma in there. The company was so kind to just pause our package while we dealt with these traumas.
Yeah.
And then all this like reciprocity is being built actually.
Yeah.
And then he never does anything with the package, by the way. I do all the deals and I'm happy. I really connect with our mentor that was part of our package. We're heading to Chicago for the last class in our package. And he's actually kind of being mean to me, like unusually, because I'm experiencing so much success and momentum. And he's not done anything.
A little jealousy,
it's
possibly.
Self-help on a shelf, kind of shelf help, I think they call it. He had shelf help and I did. So I just meditated all the way there, like what I really wanted. And I wanted my own relationship.
There you go.
I wanted my own like separate thing. Like I want to stand on my own 2 feet about this. And my mentor is standing there by the HR table of this company. And so we hug and, hey, how's it going? And she was like, hey, they're hiring. And I look at the pamphlet, and every single thing I was trying to manifest or on my checklist of, design, my life list, was on that pamphlet. Travel, my own relationship with the company, time managing events or just working the events. So I just wanted to give back. So she goes, you should do this. You should give back. And so they were framing it as a give back. They wanted more students on board. Before they didn't really have a lot of students on the team. They were just hiring people off the street. And so that's how those sleazy sales were happening. It's people who weren't invested. They weren't even invested. I do join it. And that means I'm just going to go work an event just like I would. Then I get a taste of the sales. They're icky. I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like how this feels. And I said, if I was managing this team, this would not be happening. And someone was like, oh, it takes a long time to become a manager around here. It takes like 2 years. It's about 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
And Mary said, watch this.
Right. That'll be fun. I ended up rewriting how people do events at that company. And we took out the sleazy sales. We incorporated true like coaching conversations and ethical sales. There was many times I pushed a check away and said, nope, you're not good for this company and we're not good for you. And you can keep your $30,000. And so what I love about this conference is that there aren't those sales, but many of the speakers have their own coaching. Many of them are mentors to many people, right? Yeah. And so anyone who attends this conference, they get a tasting. So when you went to your conference, you went to your conference, I went to my conference, we're just in the room with that one company and they have isolated us and we don't know any better than this one story
Didn't
that
see
we're
it
being
coming.
sold, right? Yep. But in this conference, there's a sampling. It's kind of like a preview to a movie. Hey, did you hear about this movie? Hey, did you hear about this movie? And you get to decide which movie you get to go to.
Josh called it the Baskin Robbins effect.
Oh,
31 flavors.
31 flavors.
Yeah. And you get to come in and sample before you buy the scoop.
And I will bring lactate. You might need that. So that's how I got my start. Heard you guys were doing this conference last year, and I was like, I'm going to help you out.
And you did. Well, Mary, that's not how I remember that going down.
Like, please help us out.
Yeah, how I remember the experience going was, and I guess maybe talking about how you and I connected to have this event might make sense too. So talk about you had a panel at your local REIA event.
Yeah, host a monthly meetup here in St. Louis called River City REI Roundtable. It's a traditional, real estate meetup where you have a speaker and a topic and whatever. All year long, we had a bunch of really well-known St. Louis speakers come through. And for December, I was racking my brain, like, what can we do for December kind of wrap it up, will people be more interested? And I got to thinking, well, maybe more like a holiday party themed with panels. Maybe I'll invite all of our speakers back and see if they'd come and talk. And almost all of them said yes. Only the ones that had conflicts, it's December, had conflicts, couldn't come, but most of them came. So we had like different panels. And normally at my meetup, it's very small. It's in a quaint little place that doesn't have a ton of seating. So we cap like our seating monthly up to that point, like 35. And for that event, I basically just tested the waters, uncapped it, and we ended up with like 77 people registered. Now, it's a free event, but 77 people wanting to see a panel of, 10, 11, 12, how many ever it was speak. It was pretty interesting. So back of the room and all these people here. I mean, 77 people didn't show up.
It was packed, though.
Yeah, it was packed. It was packed. Very. Yeah. And I'm sitting back there about midway through. I leaned over to Josh and I said, this is proof of concept. And he's like, what do you mean? I go, I want to have a conference.
Yeah. And you had me, and again, we'll talk later about like networking and relationships. You had actually talked to my partner with my multifamily about her speaking, and she's not a speaker.
Right.
But she knew I was. And so she invited me, we had lunch and I went out and we spoke. The previous year, you invited panels, and I was sitting on a panel. This was while I was right as I was shifting from full-time investing into building out this coaching company. And I was sitting on a panel with some pretty high caliber people that are also speaking, like Christina Aguilera. Yeah. She was speaking, and like I felt like the small fish. And Rich leaned over in the back and he goes, "Hey man, I want to do this on a big scale." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And for me, as the small business, I love seeing people and helping people's dreams come to fruition. Yeah. And I could hear it in his voice. He had a desire and he had a passion. And up until recently, I didn't know about his story about the aviator. And I called him after the new year and I said, "Hey, Rich, like, were you really serious about wanting to throw a conference?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so for me, I was speaking on the panel and I love speaking on stage. And so for me, it was like, ooh, I might be able to help somebody and help them get what they want and help me get what I want. How does this need to actually look? And so then we started talking and we started networking, started circuits. Yeah. And then that's why I said, I don't remember it happening that way. We were at, where were we at? It was Core's Meetup. Property. Yeah. Core Properties Meetup. Christina was speaking.
Yep.
Who I signed up at Rich
who Mary met through Rich Ed. And if you don't know, there's a theme of connections and network. And I was just talking to the side. Christina said, "You need to talk to Mary." Found out she had done these events before. And it was like, "Hey, we're doing this event and I would love to talk to you about, maybe just find out some hints, some tips, some tricks," not knowing what we were going to be ultimately building. And she's like, "Yeah, let's have coffee." And we had a coffee and loved Mary out of the gate. And I reached out to Rich and I said, "Man, if you haven't talked to her, like, I think we need to maybe talk to her about managing our event, because she's got things that she knows from her experience, again, mentors and people that own their space, that like I couldn't even wrap my head around at that moment." Yeah. And so then we started talking and happening. And now Mary is a co-owner of this with us and a co-host and a co-speaker. And like, she was the glue, at least for me, Rich, you can talk.
Thanks.
She was kind of the glue that made last year's as big a success as I think it was. And
I think it was meant to be, because, I had spoke to Mary after a conference that a mutual friend of ours had. And I know you had your background, but it kind of felt like I didn't want to seem like I was pulling you out, like, "Mary, come help me." But, and so I kind of like really, really passively threw it out there. Like, "We got this conference. If you want to help us with that, it'd be awesome." I completely get it. If you don't, I get it. Yeah. Maybe you have PTSD from your past experiences. I don't know. Yeah. And then, when you connected with her and it just lit and went off, I was like, all right, well, this was meant to be.
Yeah. I was like, it's not an option, Rich. We need to figure out how to do something with
Absolutely.
her. So, yeah.
Glad to be here.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Glad to have you. Makes it much, much better because you are here.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to talk about a theme. You'll hear me say that a lot about everybody we're interviewing and talking to, because I'm serious. Without the people that have stepped up to be part of this, help run this, do all that, we wouldn't have this. So I sincerely mean that. Thank you. And you too, Josh. Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't so ethical from your, wonderful hearts, I wouldn't be joining you.
Wow.
So I don't need to.
You're absolutely right. And
I purged that out of the company I used to work for, because I didn't want to participate in that kind of event, Yeah. I'm a mama bear about entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And
it's a good description.
I am.
Yeah. I hear that.
Or what Nate would call me, loving drill sergeant / mama bear. I guess we could add that.
Loving drill sergeant. I love that.
Yeah. So I do have the ability. So if you see me at the event, I'll probably appear hyper-focused, but I'll be managing numerous things in my head. It's a gift.
Yeah.
Call that a gift.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I know. You should see it in here. But I love many of the speakers. I know them personally, and some of them have been my coach. Stellar lineup. Yeah. What a great thing to invite people into.
Wow. That's all we do. I mean, honestly, I like the intention this year when we went from 17 speakers last year. And we were talking about, like last year, we kind of oversold. Like we got 17 speakers really quickly, thinking everybody would say, no, we need to keep digging. So we threw out a bunch of invitations, 17 fish bought, reeled them in. And we're like, now we need a bigger deck to put these fish on because we got all these fish. Then we did some refocusing, restructuring how we're going to run the event and found out we could bring on a lot more. So we got over 30 speakers lined up for you at Gateway to Freedom and from all areas.
So as a new investor, some of the things that you might be bumping up against is what we call in the industry analysis paralysis. And with you as a new investor, your analysis paralysis is going to be experienced a little differently than most people that have done deals, right? Your experience might be something where like, I don't know how to evaluate a deal properly. I don't know how to estimate a repair needed. I don't know who to contact to go and do this properly. The one for me that really spoke in my journey that really prevented me from moving powerfully was not getting rejected, but what happens when they say yes. And I'm so scared that when they say yes, I'm actually going to screw up some way that's going to make their situation worse. Because in real estate itself, we are looking to solve people's problems. And in my journey, we have seen the best of humanity, and we've seen people at their lowest, not their worst, but their lowest points a lot of times. And showing up in a way for me where I want to help these people, as well as you probably want to make sure, and the purpose of our conference is Gateway to Freedom, right? It's how do you build freedom? And doing that together is where you may be getting stuck, where you may be experiencing this. Because also our school system don't teach us how to do these things. They teach us how to be workers. They teach you how to go 9 to 5. They teach you how to abide by a clock. They teach you how to do these things, and it's intentional. And so with that being said, how do we help you move from that analysis paralysis into a position where you're actually being able to move and go out and do that first deal in a powerful way, or go out and help somebody that you don't necessarily know how to do? That's what this conference is about, is connecting you with the people and the support systems that will help you move through that. Does that hit on it? Am I like anything you can add? Yes.
I do want to add.
Yes.
When you were talking, it just made me remember walking into the first ballroom I walked into, and just really, as an entrepreneur, we have a tendency to be do-it-yourselfers. And as a do-it-yourselfer, that's a lot of pressure. You're not going to get very far. You only have so many hours in a day. You need a team around you. And so walking into the ballroom that I first walked into and started seeing my people and hearing about creating teams and building out, using other people's money, using other people's time, other people's skill, like really learning how to do that. You can read about that in a book, but until you see it in front of your face, that this is really how people are being successful in any industry as an entrepreneur, is they're going to conferences, they're surrounding themselves with their people, they're being supported and allowing support and allowing themselves to become a leader through that process.
Yeah. Being in an environment where people are modeling the way that you want to show up.
I like that.
Being a new investor doesn't mean you're stuck in a job you hate. It doesn't mean, you're not living the life you want to live. A new investor could be, look, I'm committed to this. I want to do it. I just don't know where to start. So a conference like this will give you a place to start. Brand new, this will give you a place to start. And like we kind of mentioned earlier, for you to taste test the room, right? Taste test and see whose styles and whose personalities and whose niche in real estate investing you want to attach to. And You don't have to have a backstory like I have, or like Josh has, or like Mary has, to come to a conference like this and get value. The value is already built in. I mean, you can't deny the value for you to spend a little bit of money, invest in yourself. And I'll put it this way. If you're even contemplating, if you're thinking about it, if you're even wondering, should I go to a conference like this? Well, my immediate answer is yes. Yes, absolutely. Invest in yourself, because the cost of one ticket is far less than the amount of money you can make on just one deal. You make one deal from the connections you make, from the information you learn, it's well worth your time. So Gateway to Freedom is a way for you to start your real estate investing journey. Even if you've already committed that is what I want to do, this is a great place to start.
Love that. Love that. And so Mary, like with your experience and having done these events, what would you recommend to those new investors out there to do with a conference like this? How can they set themselves up for success moving forward?
All I know is in any industry I've worked in, go to the local events. They're the people that have the most success. So get your ticket, buy a ticket.
Yep.
Find someone to go. Find a friend that will hold you accountable, that can have fun with you, building something, or just cheering each other on. Set an intention. Know what you're doing there. Why do you want to change your life? What's in it for you? You are probably already sold on real estate, or you wouldn't be watching this video. But you're not sold on you. And when you go to these types of conferences, you will be sold on a vehicle that you can actually do, because now you're seeing right in front of your face real people who are getting it done, because now they're building their character, they're building their confidence, they're building their skill set, they're building their team, and you can do that too. So when you're there, you're going to connect with the team that you need, the team that's going to get you to where you want to go.
Wait, do they connect?
They need to connect.
Okay.
Connect.
So that's
Sounds like
it's connecting with other people.
Sounds like it.
Not yet, because this is the
that's kind of another thing. Like you at home watching this, you may hear through all these videos we're doing, you will hear people talking about build your team. You go to these things, you find your team, you build your team. And that's what it means. When you hear that, it doesn't mean, hey, guess what? Right out of the gate, you got to hire 8 W-2 employees. That's not what building your team is. Building your team is finding other people you can connect with that can help you along with your journey in any of the capacities in real estate investing. So I just want to clear that as we talk about, this going, find your team, build your team. Yeah, we're not talking about, hey, go out and hire 18 people. That's not what it's about.
2 things. One, for the new entrepreneur, the new real estate investor, it's already hard to jump from I do everything myself to the idea of having a team. And so I'm glad you cleared that up, because that's already an issue. And then to think I have to hire people, that's not accurate. Like, we're just going to create win-win situations between me and my plumber, or me and my mortgage broker, or whoever.
The other thing we want to mention is that if people are watching this saying, wow, you know what, I'm really interested in this. I already followed the plan. At least step 1 of what Mary's plan for you is to go out there and buy your ticket. If you want to jump start, your networking and build these connections here in the St. Louis area, we've got a list created. You can go out to the website, www.g2free. That's Gateway to Freedom website, www.g2free.com. Get the list link, click that, and you'll actually get the list of all the St. Louis area real estate investor meetups you can go to now in October beyond, because they're, it's a running.
Get a head start on the conference. Yeah,
absolutely. So g2free.com, or check out the show notes for the link. And you want to get out there and buy your ticket now, because there's a discount now. And the longer you wait, the price of the ticket actually is going up. So get your ticket now. It's like a running clock, the price is going up and up and up. No, but the price will go up. As the longer you wait, the price is just going to be more expensive. So get your ticket now.
So Rich, tell me, how are these days going to unfold when they attend the Gateway to Freedom conference? What's those days look like?
The ticket price is super low compared to having over 30 speakers there, right? But there's a ton of value already built into the tickets. You buy a ticket and you're getting to see over 30 speakers over a 2.5-day session. If you buy that platinum ticket, you get a half-day business intensive that includes 6 speakers that are going to be coaching you along on how to improve your business strategies, how to scale your business and improve your business overall. It's not going to be a real estate exclusive business intensive, but it is a business intensive that will very much help a real estate investor business. And then Friday and Saturday is when we bring out our speakers that are going to be individual speakers, some panels as well. The gold and platinum ticket holders will have a buffet dinner, and the platinum and gold ticket holders will have a VIP happy hour at the end of Friday. The platinum ticket holders will have a VIP happy hour at the end of Thursday. So we're going to be packed on that Friday and Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and stay for as long as you want to network even after that. So it's going to be huge. We've been talking about Gateway to Freedom, and that's a huge theme. When you hear real estate investors talk, they're going to talk about how much real estate investing gives you a path to freedom or something about freedom. What does freedom mean to you?
That's a great question, and the waters run so deep in answering that question. For me, in my 42 years, what I found for me now is really learning how to free myself from the things that I feel are taking my energy and taking my mental capacity and my emotional capacities, things like that. Of like, we talk about financial freedom, and really it's getting to a point where I don't have to worry about money, the mental strain of it, the emotional strain of it, like carrying it like it's an 80-pound backpack every day that I walk around. It's cutting those ties to those things that are weighing us down in our life, whether it's finances, whether it's time. In our business, when we coach our entrepreneurs, we talk about the three things. It's increasing profitability, reducing your stress, and reclaiming your time. And if we can put things into place to help us grow and evolve into that and help design, living a life by design as opposed to default, that for me is what freedom means and what I'm going after and what I help other people go after, and what for me this conference is about for everyone else. That's what awesome. I got.
Bam.
That's awesome.
Dang, dude. For me, creating a life of choice is important. It chokes me up.
Yeah.
If it can choke you up, it can go make you create a lot of money. Anyway, and a lot of freedom. And so after doing hundreds of these types of events and watching people walk in with, crushed dreams and lots of trauma and, belief in themselves, but walking out with a recaptured dream and a plan and a team and some mentorship, like I've seen how important that is. And I know how important it is in my own life to have surrounded myself with something that allows me to be an entrepreneur, that allows me to like Josh said, cut those ties of the thinking that blocks us from creating the life that we deserve and would like to have. And that's a life of choice. Like a mentor taught me about life of choice. I didn't know wasn't having a life of choice. It took me a long time of going to conferences and going and keep going back to, and immersing myself in a culture where I'm loved up and I'm appreciated and my skill sets are sharpened and I get to learn how to believe in myself. And that's what I ended up getting sold on myself in these conferences. And that's my wish for the people that attend this conference.
Wow, that's
powerful.
That is very powerful.
And then Rich, really for you, man, what does freedom mean?
So, the very first conference I went to, actually, talk about getting choked up, the speaker gave a story that was extremely heartfelt, and but it choked me up big time, because I'll tell you a little bit about why I am in this and why I do real estate investing. Is my dad grew up. I grew up with a father who was a hard worker. He was a blue collar guy who worked in a copper factory from the day after his 18th birthday till the day he could no longer work. And then, I guess technically when he died, he was still employed there, but, and he was a hard worker and like I said, worked 6 days a week, almost every week. And, so I understand the thing about working hard. However, when I first got interested in real estate investing, and I ordered the Carlton Sheets thing online as well. And, I told my dad, I was so excited. I was like, look, I'm going to learn how to buy real estate and invest in real estate, not using a penny of my own money. And my dad's like, when you learn how to do that, let me know. I'll do it with you. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm checking it out. My dad had gotten really sick by then. And he actually passed away a couple months before I bought my first property. And the story that the person on stage at the first conference I went to told was how you hear all the time, and it's a phrase everybody hears, and they repeat a lot. Time is money. Time is money. Time is money. Time is money. You hear that so much, and I used to buy into that. And he told a story about how time isn't money, because he went into a story how he had lost his grandpa. He was really close to it, lost his grandpa. I could relate to, I'd gone through a lot. I lost my dad, the guy who was going to go into this real estate business with me. And there isn't any amount of money that I wouldn't pay for more time.
It's everything.
So time isn't money. Time is everything. And time is freedom. And that the choice you talked about. There's a reason I don't tell the story.
People need to hear it, man. Rich, this is why we're doing it, man. Own it. Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, people talk about time is money, time is money, time is money. Time isn't money, because there isn't any amount of money that I wouldn't pay to have more time with my dad. And like you were talking about, Mary, time is choice, and it is. Or freedom is choice. Sorry, not time is choice, but freedom is choice, and it is, because if you use the transient property of words, time is money, money is freedom, that kind of thing, whatever the people talk about all the time, then freedom is time. And more importantly than that, freedom is the choice. And I'm saying that, I'm sticking on that, because I want to speak to you right there that's thinking of this already, that if you're in a job that you hate, if you're in a situation that you're not very happy about, you may not feel like you have a choice. And that may be fine. And you may not. And if you can deal with that and you can live with that, that's fine. That's on you, whatever, that's your choice. But if you like your job, on the flip side, if you enjoy your job, if you enjoy what you're doing, you still have the choice to keep doing that. And me personally, people may not know this, is that I actually still do have my W-2 job, because I absolutely love what I do. But I have the choice. I could any day say, I'm done with this. Let's just do real estate investing. And I would, but I love what I do. If I hated what I do, it'd be a lot easier to say, screw this. I'm going to just do real estate investing. And there may be a time when that becomes a thing where I'm like, you know what, I'm done with it. I mean, I may still love it, but I'm done with it. But you have the choice. So to try to bring this back together is that freedom is having the choice, like you said, to go one way or the other. And if we go back to my original story, where I was in a situation where I didn't have many choices, but I made the choice, made the decision, and talked to my wife like, hey, we got to pay the $200 to go to this conference, go to this, weekend thing that changed my life. So don't let $200 or a little more than that or whatever keep you from changing your own life, because as long as you have the choice to be able to do that, you have freedom. But let Gateway to Freedom help you increase that freedom. If that makes any sense.